Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gavinsky's Tutorials. Today I'm looking at BLEASS Motion EQ, which is a really cool new FX app from BLEASS. And what it does basically is split your signal into 3 bands. You can vary the crossovers between the bands. You have complete control over that. That's really, really cool. And then one really cool thing is it has multi-out. So you can see here, for example, in this AUM session, I'm using multi-out to split this signal across 3 channels in AUM, and I'm applying different effects to each channel. Another really cool thing it has is it has 2 LFOs. These can be assigned to various targets, and even better, one of the LFOs can be assigned to modulate the other LFO. What's more, it has a random button, so you can actually randomize your presets. It's really, really cool, I think. I like it a lot. So let's let you hear this first on an example. And one thing I want to mention is I've got 3 copies of this to give away to subscribers to the channel. And all the details of what you need to do to win are in the pinned comment at the top of the YouTube comment section. And if you're not a subscriber yet, don't worry, you can subscribe now. All the details of how the winners will be announced and so on are there in the comments, so take a look at that. Good luck, everybody. Okay, so let's listen first to what this synth sounds like without any BLEASS motion on it. Okay, sounds nice, but I think it's a lot more interesting like this. So let's look at what's going on here, and I'll show you how to set up multi-out. So first we open an instrument. So in this case, I've opened this synth, could be whatever. Now, then here in your FX slot, you want to add an instance of BLEASS Motion. Now, to add that, just pretend these are not there. If I was adding this fresh from scratch, I would just click here. And by the way, I did a tutorial on AUM recently, so check that out. If you're a newbie to AUM and you want to learn how to use this, that video will be extremely, extremely helpful. So go into Audio Unit Extension, I choose BLEASS Motion. Right, I put it in here, but I've already got one, so I'm just going to take that away. Now, then I open up another channel, an audio channel, and again, I click on the FX slot. I click here again, but this time I don't click on Audio Unit Extension. Instead, I go to the bottom. I go to Multi-Bus Audio Unit Instances, and I click on BLEASS Motion. And then what you'll get is something like this, and it will have these little things on the side, and then you know it's multi-out. And then I just go to the 3rd channel, and I do exactly the same as I did in this channel. Then you can add different effects after these. And so, again, what we're getting here is the bass is going into this BLEASS saturator. Let's just solo that for a second. So I'm just using that very subtly. Now in this 2nd channel, we've got heavy, heavy delay going on. With a lot of feedback. And over here, we've got a delay going, but it's different. So if we look here, for example, this delay is dotted eighth. This delay is quarter beat. So that's one way I like to use this, to set up very, very complex delay patterns. But there are all kinds of possibilities, all kinds of possibilities. So let's take a quick look at the interface first. So in the middle, we have our EQ, where we can shift the bands. And then here, we can boost or lower those signals. So you can see my bass was very quiet there. I had taken the bass down. Now, this part here is very important. If you want to set up a multi-out instance, you're going to have to make sure this is set up properly. Now, there is a preset in here called dispatch, and that will set this up for you for multi-out. But just to explain, if you want to just set it up on your own, it's very, very easy. All you need to do is just make sure that this is set to 1, this is set to 2, and this is set to 3. Now, if we look at the LFOs, we have a choice between synced to beat or free. So that'll be a value in hertz. We have different LFO shapes here, and we'll listen to these things in a while. Here we have our rate. We have the offset. I'll show you that in action in a second. We can set stereo offset. So we can basically make the left ear do complete opposite of what the right ear is doing if we want. Here we change the amount of the LFO. This is very important because here is where we set the target for the LFO. And if we're using the first LFO, we can set our target as LFO2, free rate, if we want. The other choices are high frequency, low frequency, high gain, mid gain, low gain. Now over here, LFOB, this is the same except it doesn't have LFOA as the target. So LFOA is the only LFO that can modulate the other. So LFOA can modulate LFOB, but LFOB cannot modulate LFOA. Okay, let's have a little listen to some examples and show you how the LFOs work. So here I've got a loop I made in Gauss. Let you just hear that without any BLEASS on it. So this is pretty cool, but it gets much more interesting when I start to bring in the motion EQ and put it through multi-out and start putting different effects on different bands, as well as using the LFOs to bring motion into things. So what we have here is LFOB modulating the high gain amount. And I'm using this LFO to modulate this LFO. Now, of course, we could play with the LFO type. So at the moment, this is sample and hold, so it's moving randomly. But here's a square LFO. Or we have different ramps. Or triangle. Or sine. So you can see there are a lot of possibilities with the EQ LFOs. And of course, we can also change the sound a lot by moving the bands around. So here we're bringing in more bass, and the mid band is getting narrower. Here bringing in more high, less high. So having the EQs built in here is super, super useful. But if you noticed, actually, I'm also modulating the rate of this pan, and I'm doing that using MIDI LFOs. So if you don't know how to do that, you can check that out in the AUM video I just did, because that's one of the things I covered in there, how to set up an LFO to modulate parameters inside different apps. Super useful. Okay, let's move on and listen to a few presets. So I'm going to take you through some examples of how it can sound on percussion. I've got ting here. Take this off first. Ting is being played by a couple of instances of aphelion. So I'm putting on the bandpass motion preset here. This is really nice. So this is basically filtering effect. Now this can sound really good on top of drums. Let's go through and listen to some presets. I'm putting a limiter here just in case. Cool. A lot of panning going on here. Okay, so we're back where we started. Now, let's experiment with the random button. I'll warn you though, because this is percussion, it probably take us a few hits to get something interesting here. Well, let's see. It's all right, you see, you're going to try some things and you're just not going to hear anything. There we go. Take some patience, this. So, well, it has the random button, but certainly on percussion, You've got to give it a fair few tries before you get something interesting. You see here it's set very, very low. So we bring that up and then we'll start to get something. So basically, you know, I would see in some ways the random presets, it doesn't seem like they're that intelligent actually. I don't know really what's gone into how they're programmed, but basically as long as you're okay to just keep hitting on the dice, you might get something that has a bit of sound, and then you're probably going to have to tweak it a little bit, but you'll possibly discover things that you would never have thought of otherwise. So it's good that it has it. It's good that it has the random button. All right, let's finish off by just listening to it on a couple of synths and bass and things like that. This example shows how BLEASS Motion can add motion to pads, and we're using the preset for your pads. And this is not a multi-out instance, it's just one instance, but of course you could set it up as multi-out. So what's going on here? LFO A is modulating the mid gain with a very slow rate, and you can see we have a lot of stereo offset going on. LFO B is modulating the high gain, again pretty slow but not as slow as the mid gain. So we're getting nice panning and changes in brightness. This is the comes and goes preset on an 808. Random mid stereo. Static phrases preset. Filtered and shaky. And this one's called left and right. This will be my last example for today. Noise. Going into variable tremolo preset. So don't forget to play with the band crossovers and the boosts for the various bands. I really like these kind of effects. I also just love the BLEASS interface. I think BLEASS have brought out so many good apps this year, and I really like that they're adding more LFOs. Is there anything I'd like to see improved here? Well, I wouldn't mind more LFOs, maybe. You know, the more LFOs, the better, really. But I understand as well that I want to keep the interface nice and small, and it'll be universal and so on. So that's really understandable. And let's just check, of course, very important thing, are the parameters exposed, right? So in the new AUM, we can check this here, but this version is not out in the stores yet. There we go. All the different parameters, yes. Of course they're exposed because I was using I was using the LFO and pan station earlier. Yeah, so all the parameters are exposed, so you can use your own LFOs to modulate things anyway. So great app, love this kind of thing. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you found this useful, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. I'm working really super hard on this channel, putting in so much time. So, you know, the 1 second that it takes for you to give videos a thumbs up, write a comment, subscribe, and so on, it really pays me back for all of the massive effort that I make in doing these extremely informative videos for you. All right, thanks everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.